watching this live. But I believe the early bird gets the worm. And so I'm up early. I always get up early and I go to bed late and I take naps whenever I want to. So if you want to know how I live my life, that's how. So I want to say good morning to everybody. Those of you on Instagram, how you doing? My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins. Also, if you want to get text alerts when I go live periodically, you can text the word Boyce to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. So I decided to do something I call Dr. Boyce Exposed, where I say, ask me any one sentence question and I will give you an honest answer. So if I see your question, I will try my best to give you a short answer to the question. If you can give me a short question for the answer. Just so you know, today it looks like the stock market. Remember, I told you guys yesterday the stock market looked like it was going to go down today. Well, actually, there's good news. The stock market does not look like it's going to go down now. Now, the futures market, which predicts what the stock market's going to do, has actually turned itself. It's gained a little bit. It's kind of reversed itself just a little bit. And let me see, Dow futures gain as stocks try to keep comeback from bear market lows going. Okay. So should I buy stock now? Yes. Buying stock right now is, in my view, a very wise decision because now you have a once in a generation light opportunity to really do well because everything's super cheap. Personally, that's what I would do. What do you think about the Roe versus Wade decision? Well, I am a person who is probably pro-choice because I believe everybody has the right to make their own choice. But I am not comfortable with that procedure. I think that there's a history there that cannot be ignored. Margaret Sanger was a horrible racist. Go look at some of those quotes from this lady. It's crazy. She literally was like, we're going to use the black preachers and get black people to be basically side with us to go and exterminate black babies. I mean, it was some nonsense. And so for Planned Parenthood to come out of that as a problem, and I think that when you talk about Planned Parenthood, I wish we would really plan our parenthood. Planned Parenthood means plan who you're going to sleep with. Planned Parenthood means plan for your financial future. Planned Parenthood means, or it means my body, my choice starts with who you choose to share your body with. And this is for men and for women. You just see so many people having to make hard decisions because they didn't make a plan. The best way to avoid having to make a hard decision is to stay out of that situation in the first place. But unfortunately, a lot of us don't get that, don't understand that we live in a victim society that says just go do any stupid thing you want and then just whine and complain and be a victim when it all goes wrong. I don't believe in that. I wasn't raised that way. So again, I'm probably more pro-choice than I am pro-life because I'm not one that's going to fight to create a law or to overturn Roe versus Wade. But honestly, I wasn't bothered by it because I honestly still feel like, look, if you want to go get the procedure, there's states you can go to, and states have different laws and all that. So that's my position on it, and that's it. That's my 2 cents. All right. So by the way, if I miss your question, feel free to put it in there again, and I'll grab it again. So some of y'all, it may scroll up. Let's see here. How can I get into the speaking industry so I can create a new stream of revenue? Larry, we have a program in the Black Business School that's built on that. It's created by my brother who started Great Black Speakers, which is the largest Black-owned speakers bureau in the country. And the best way to learn how to be a speaker and to get in there is to invest in yourself and learn from other speakers. The person that runs that program is named Al Duncan. Al Duncan has made millions of dollars as a speaker. He's a damn good speaker, and he's really good at what he does. He's on our faculty. He's been on our faculty for 10 years, or maybe almost 10 years. And we've been partnering with him for 10 years. He's been on the Black Business School faculty since the inception. And it's called a Black Experts Empire. And basically what it's built on is helping people that have credentials and skills that you want to share, helping them to learn how to monetize their talent. And so I encourage you to go take a look. Just go to the Black Business School. You can go to boycewatkins.com and get a link there and get to the school, or you can click the link in the bio. Let's see. My daughter is going viral. How can she capitalize on it? I would say that she should probably learn how to build a funnel if she has something she wants to sell or something she eventually may want to offer or a way to capture the audience. Sales funnels are really important to do that. So you have a lead page where people can give you their email address so you get their permission to reach back out to them later. So, for example, if you go to boycewatkins.com, I give you guys a free e-copy of my book on how to invest with $5 a day. And then I also let you guys know, look, hey, I'm going to send you free stuff in your email on a regular basis so you can learn more and more about wealth. And then also I'm going to make offers to you about things that are going on in the Black Business School. You can choose to participate if you feel so compelled to do so, and that's something that we kind of work on. So that's something I would encourage you to do. That's what I did when I was at AOL Black Voices. I knew AOL Black Voices was eventually going to disappear. And when I had that opportunity, I just put a little link in the bottom that said, click here if you want more of my articles in your email inbox. And 25,000 people signed up, I guess, because they like my articles and stuff like that. I still have a newsletter on LinkedIn, by the way, if you guys want to check it out. And anyway, that was the beginning of kind of me having my own audience. And I needed that because I was too radical to fit in like on CNN or Fox. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. I'm just a black man. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm just a black man. And I'm also a mathematician. And as a mathematician, I taught math at the University of Kentucky, by the way, in case you don't know. As a mathematician, I believe that you're trained to be logical. You're also trained to look for answers. So I'm not going to let my emotions cause me to believe in an answer that I don't believe in. So what happens in politics is politics, in my view, is very dumb in America. They give you stupid solutions, oversimplified solutions, and people hold on to them because they want to stick with their clique and stick with their gang or stick with their political party. I don't believe that's the answer for black people. I think that that's what's got you in this mess that you're in right now. I look for solutions wherever they lie. So sometimes a Republican will give me a solution. I'll say that makes sense. And then sometimes I'll hear a Democrat give a solution. I'll be like, that makes sense too. I refuse to jump into allowing myself to be labeled by a political party. That's nonsense. I'm not no cattle. You're not going to brand me. Let's see here. Ashland, do you think Bitcoin will remain bullish for a few more weeks? It could. There's a lot of people that believe in Bitcoin and Ethereum. I do. I'm a believer. I own Bitcoin. I own thousands of dollars of Bitcoin, thousands in Ethereum. I own a few other cryptos as well. And I'll tell you what, if you go to drboycecrypto.com, you can see all the cryptos that I own. It's drboycecrypto.com. I put a list there so you guys can have it. But basically, I think crypto is going to come back at some point. Not all crypto. Some crypto is going to die. You need to have a shakeout of the industry to get rid of the bad actors. But crypto, I think, is here to stay. I wouldn't. The death of Bitcoin is much exaggerated. AOL, yeah, it was AOL Black Voices. I think this is a dead cat. How long can it rally? It could be a dead cat bounce. But remember, there are interesting things happening with the stock market right now. I mentioned this to you guys last night on my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins, if you want to follow. I was mentioning to you guys that I read a study that said that anytime in the last 100 years when the stock market went down more than 15% in the first 6 months, it always went up the second 6 months. I couldn't believe it. 100% of the time. I said, holy crap, this is crazy. So I don't know. So there's no guarantee. One thing about the stock market is there's no guarantee about what's going to happen, but that's a pretty good indicator to say that investing now would be a good idea. Also, if you're a long-term investor, I think you have nothing to worry about. Now, what can throw it off is remember that when you're talking about stock markets are built on expectations. So when you're talking about expectations, you have you have the known, you have the unknown, and then you have the unknown unknowns, right? So you have the things that you know, the things that you know you don't know, and then the things you don't know you don't know. So it's that third category, the unknown unknowns that can rattle the market. So if tomorrow Vladimir Putin announces that the war is over with Ukraine, it's a rally, right? If oil prices start dropping, inflation starts dropping because the price of gas, a lot of things can happen. But if tomorrow they announce, oh, we're going to war with China, well, boom, over Taiwan or something, right? So you got to just be ready for what they call they call them exogenous shocks. So you got to be ready for these shocks, these shocking events to occur, and they're going to always be there. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm interested in getting more information on investing. Please inbox me, Tanya. I don't inbox anybody. By the way, if you ever get inboxed by me asking you to do something like join my WhatsApp group or whatever, just know I am not on WhatsApp. There are literally scammers that imitate social media influencers who will go out and get you to put money into whatever they're doing. I'm not that guy. Okay. I don't inbox people directly. So if you'd like to get more information on investing, just go to boycewatkins.com. There is a free ebook you can have on that page. And then also there's other information you can get. Just get on the email list by getting the free ebook, and I will send you tons of information. You'll learn more from me than you learned in college. Even if college costs you $200,000 or $300,000. There are also they have these investment programs that are like $10,000, $20,000 a year and all that. You don't have to do all that type of stuff. You don't have to go spend thousands of dollars to learn how to invest. In the Black Business School, a lot of our stuff is free, but then we have some things that have a cost, but the cost is always kept, in the hundreds most of the time. So it's not exaggerated. So I don't think you have to spend a ton, but I do think that if you find something that's worth your while or something that can make you money, then a smart investor will invest money to go make money. But you have to be sure that it's actually going to work for you. So give some different things a try. How do you feel about Roe? How do you feel Roe versus Wade will affect relationships? I don't think it's going to affect relationships that much, honestly, Justin. I think people love is. I've read so much stuff about love. I've read entire books about love because love was very fascinating to me because it was so. I couldn't understand how powerful it was. It was like a drug, you know. My first book I ever wrote was called Financial Lovemaking, and the book Financial Lovemaking, I wrote it because I saw how people were making crazy like relationship decisions over money, and I really wanted to understand that. And as I did the research, I found out just how many people just ended up in terrible situations because because they dated somebody because they dated a guy because he was rich and he ended up being a bastard who ruined their life, or maybe a guy who doesn't want to have a family, doesn't or abandons his kids because he doesn't have enough money, or because he loves sex and he's getting with all these different women. He's now got 8 babies mamas that he can't afford to take care of, so he's suicidal. So I really think how's that law going to change relationships? I don't know if it's going to change. I mean, that much. I mean, remember, it's not over yet. The left is fighting hard to switch things back. Also, remember, this is a federal law, so that means different states have their own regulations. So I kind of think Roe versus Wade isn't totally dead. But then again, though, I don't think this is our fight, honestly. I mean, I get it if you feel passionate about it, but it's not something that I would say I'm biased when it comes to the abortion thing because they told my mother to abort me, and I'm kind of glad to be alive. So I don't. And also, here's another thing too. A lot of people, and Margaret Sanger kind of approached it this way too. A lot of people believe you should abort a baby because you don't have enough money, because bills are hard to pay. I'm not a believer in taking a child's life over money. But then again, though, I also am a believer in that maybe if we prepare our kids financially to have enough money, they won't have to make a terrible decision like that. Like, do I want my child to live or die, based on whether or not I can pay the rent? That makes me really sad. I understand money. I'm an expert on money. I appreciate and respect the value of money. But my Lord Jesus, why would you make a life or death decision over money? If that doesn't make you a hardcore capitalist, I don't know what does. I'm not a hardcore capitalist. I don't advocate for any of that. But I don't think life or death decisions should be made over money. That's just my 2 cents. Is this live? Yes, it is, Vic. Let's see here. What are your thoughts on the cryptocurrency market? I think it's going to come back. I'm a believer in Bitcoin, Ethereum. I'm a believer in these cryptos, top notch. I don't believe in the garbage. The garbage is going to die. How do I raise my DUNS number? That's a whole conversation about business credit. I would probably go read a book or take a class on how to establish business credit so you can do that the right way. There's stuff out there for sure. Let's see here. Let's see. FI, you're sponsoring a class in the library with young girls with your programs. A guy walked in. He is now sponsoring a couple of girls. That's how we do it. All right. I love it. I love it, Dee Dee. That's beautiful. I'm so happy that you're doing it. And I really, I talk to my daughters about money all the time. And I just really think, especially, look, if you got daughters, you got to teach them how to make their own money because too many young women out here are being manipulated and controlled by money. They get in bad relationships with terrible men and they can't leave because of money. And I just really think that that's a waste. I really think that financial literacy for young women is really important. And I just tell my girls, learn about money so no man will ever control you with money. They got me. I'm not their biological dad. They got a dad, biological father, but I'm their father too. And we both have money. Our wealth is strong. But on top of that, it's like, we want your wealth to be strong. We want your knowledge to be strong. And when a young lady enters a relationship with a position of strength where she's got men backing her up and she can back herself up, she's much less likely to be abused or exploited or pimped than somebody who has nothing. You send your children out here into the world with nothing, no protection, no armor, no shield, no nothing. And I'm gonna tell you, me and my wife are watching a documentary about Iceberg Slim. Anybody read that book or heard? He wrote a book called Pimp, P-I-M-P. And he talked about pimping. And one of the big things about pimping is that the pimp knows how to control the minds of women by basically looking for women who are vulnerable emotionally, financially, and otherwise. Don't let your child get pimped. Now, with your boys get pimped too. I see a lot of black boys that get out in this world. And I showed you guys a video the other day of a young black man who was in his 20s, it looked like maybe his 30s, and he was crying like a baby, bawling because he hated his job so much. He was just in pain. You could feel his pain. He's like, I don't even want to go to work, y'all. Life ain't supposed to be like this, y'all. And he's talking about life. Think about this. He's talking about how life ain't supposed to be like this. That sounds damn near suicidal. Like life ain't worth living because this is not, he said, I think he said, this is not living, y'all. Like, I mean, it really sounded sad. Like he needs a therapist and some Prozac and some Jesus or something. Something's got to get him out of that hole. Well, I thought about it. I said, what if this young man had been taught at an early age how to be an investor? What if he'd been taught how to start his own business so he can create economic options for himself? What if he'd been taught how to network in a business capacity so he could be around people that can help him work out his financial situation? What if he'd been taught, what if somebody had been investing for him $5 a day? That's what my plan is. It's called the $5 a day plan. It's in a book. It's an ebook. It's totally free. Just, you can buy it. If you want a physical book, you can buy it on Amazon, but you don't have to buy it on Amazon. It's free. Go to boycewatkins.com. And I said, what if somebody had been investing $5 a day for this young man, since he was a child? He would have $100,000 in the bank, and he wouldn't be on the internet crying like a baby at the age of 35. So my point is to say that you don't want to send your children out to be slaves. You don't send them out so they can get pimped. These corporations are the biggest pimps that there are, and if you don't prepare your child to be strong, they are gonna get pimped. And by the way, just as an FYI, our kids program in the Black Business School is at blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. So if you want to go take a look, feel free to go to blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com. I'll try to put the URL on the screen. Here it is. I'll put it up there so you guys can feel free to go take a look. And at the very least, if you go to blackmillionairesoftomorrow.com, I created a free digital download lecture you can have totally free called How to Turn Your Child into a Millionaire. It is super easy. I swear to God, I kid you not. I kid you not. If you give yourself enough time, you give yourself 20 or 25 years, it is very straightforward to put your child in a position where they are either at millionaire status by the age of 30 or they're close to it. Don't you ever believe anybody who tells you that being Black means you got to be poor, or that being Black means you got to always be struggling, or that being Black means you always must be traumatized, or that if you're born poor, you can't, then you have no choice. You can't get out of it. They tell you that. They tell you that because they're trying to pimp you too. The politicians want to pimp you. They want to pimp you into hopelessness so that you get to the point where you believe that they are your only hope. They're not your only hope. You are your only hope. Your community is your only hope. Your family is one of your only hopes. But you got other hopes out there too. You got to learn how to create options for yourself. So basically what I did was I put together, again, remember, I'm a mathematician. I'm a finance professor. So I'm not a guy making things up. I'm not a guy just saying things to make you feel good. I'm not a guy just throwing things out there, hope on a rope, and hope with soap on a rope. No, this is based on financial theory, straightforward, very simple plans. The key ingredient in all those plans is time. Time, that's it. Time. The only equation I cannot solve for you is this. How do I become rich and financially secure in a week? Or how do I make money real fast? I don't know how to solve that equation. I can't help you. That's like a 9-year-old saying, how do I grow to be 6'5" in a month? You can't. It's not possible. It takes time. And what happens is you waste time. You waste time. That child sitting there for 15 years, 18 years in your house, ain't nobody invested a nickel for that child's future. Then how the hell you think that child's going to have a damn future? What makes you, in what world do you think a child can have a future where nobody made a plan for the child? Yeah, maybe he knows how to rap, and maybe he knows how to play basketball. Maybe she knows how to twerk, but ain't nobody made a financial plan for the child. So my question to any parent that loves their child is, what is your financial plan for your child? What are you doing right now every single week or month that is going to make sure your child is good? It's going to make sure your child's financially secure. If you can't answer that question, then I encourage you to go home, sit down, and you better sit down and meditate on that. You send your child out here without any support, they're going to struggle. My girls are going to be ready. They're not going to be innocent little victims just being slapped around by the world. I want to make sure they are ready. My son is going to be ready because I prepare him. Prepare. Preparation is the key to success. You got it? I know I drilled that point in, but it's so important for you to understand. All right, so let's get back to it. Do you recommend young people go to college or start working on their purpose on the earth? I think they can do both. I think college is a lot of fun as long as you don't spend too much money. Student loans get a lot of people into trouble. and student loans will ruin you financially. The Black community's wealth is going backward because universities took all your money. They got you because you got caught up in this whole integration thing, in getting jobs. They got you basically trading in your opportunities for wealth and power in exchange for like pieces of paper with this degree. But then you're in debt for the rest of your life. So what happens is maybe you gain in terms of some knowledge. College is a good place to learn. My wife and I are both college professors. You also gain in terms of a little bit of status in white society. Like, now they accept you a little more because you got degrees and stuff. But you don't get anything in terms of wealth, and wealth is like that real power. And I really encourage you just to make sure you're balanced. So what I would say is, if you want to go to college, go to college. But when we sent our son to college, we didn't overspend on college. We have money. We could afford to send them to Yale or Harvard or some expensive school. We didn't. We said we want to go to the University of Louisville because this is what the tuition is here. It was a joint decision by me, his mama, his daddy, and his grandma. And we all said, we think you need to go to a place that isn't going to break the bank. We're not going to go in $250,000 in debt or whatever it is, or spend $250,000 in our family wealth for college, because college does not have to be that expensive. So that's kind of what I think is a good balance. But if somebody knows their purpose and they don't want to go to college, then, I think they're missing out. But still, you can go learn a skill. There's plenty of skills you can learn online that will get you great jobs and great opportunities. I've hired dozens and dozens and dozens of people in my life. I've worked with lots and lots of people. I've had to fire a lot of people. Some of them get mad. They go on the internet and say, Boyce is a jerk. Boyce is a jerk. Now, Boyce ain't a jerk. Boy, you just didn't do your job, so you had to get fired. But the thing is, though, it's part of business. You got to fire people. If you don't, they'll ruin your company. But the thing is, when I hire people, I've never ever once looked at whether or not they went to college. I don't really care, unless it's specifically related to exactly what we need you to do as a company. All I care about is, can you do the damn job? If you can do the job and you have the skill and you can prove that, then I will pay you just as much as somebody with 10 degrees. I'm conservative in my Roth with ETFs and only am more aggressive with some of my individual stocks. Is that a good strategy? I think that's a good strategy. It sounds like you're balanced. I think balance, Dre, is the approach. I think being a little conservative and a little risky. If you take on risk, that's how you get money, right? Nothing venture, nothing gain. Scared money don't make money, that type of thing. I think that's fine. But you have to make sure that you don't go all the way to the wall. Like you have these NBA and NFL players that were like getting their whole salary in Bitcoin, which is absolutely the craziest, silliest thing in the world. I would never do that unless my goal really was to go broke. That would be a very bad strategy. Let's see. I recently received $50,000 in a settlement check. Any advice on how to invest it? Also have zero debt and no kids. Well, good for you, Trey Jump. I'm really happy for you. I would say, number one, I would definitely have that emergency fund there, right? That $5,000 to $10,000 is available to cover your bills in case something goes wrong. I would also not move too fast. A lot of people move quickly. When you get a little bit of money, I'll tell you, I talked to a young lady I consulted with not too long ago who just got $150,000. And woo, Lord Jesus. You want to talk about relatives coming out of the woodwork trying to get money. It's been like an avalanche on her. The pressure is enormous from close family members who use guilt to get money out of you. And I gave her a strategy on how to kind of protect herself from that. I said, lock your money up in something, like find something to invest in that makes it hard for you to get the money. And then you can just say, look, I don't have it. First of all, don't tell anybody if you can. But then second of all, if for the people that do know, get that money locked up somewhere, maybe something that will generate some income for you. And then you can live off the income. Because I said the cardinal sin when you get that kind of money is you don't want to dilute your capital base. You don't want to destroy your capital base. The capital base is what makes you rich. The capital base is what makes you different from a poor person. The difference between a rich person and a poor person is one variable. Capital. The rich person has financial capital. They got stuff they can sell for money. They've got cash. They've got stocks. They've got real estate. They've got businesses, stuff that they can convert to money. The poor person has none of that. The only capital that a poor person might have is what they call human capital. That means you can do work. You can be a laborer. So you got your physical body. You've got your free time. Maybe for a pretty girl, you actually have your body. Some women might sell themselves for sex, or men too, right? Prostitution, right? That's a type of capital, right? But that's not the type of capital you want to sell because the cost is too high. The cost of capital, which is the cost of using the capital, is way too high. Like, who wants to sell their body just so they can pay the rent? So I would say, don't deplete your capital base. I would put my money into some very safe S&P 500 based, ETFs and index funds like Vanguard type stuff, things like that. I would look also into tax deferred vehicles, the IRAs, 401ks. Make sure you max that stuff out, and and then at that point, fine, and then maybe even possibly join a group of people that just know how to make money, know how to manage money and protect money. If you're sitting around with wealthy people, you just figure it's just easier to make money. I went to New York this weekend, and I sat in a room for 2 days with a group of millionaires, and all they did was share ideas and talk. We talked back and forth, and then I went to the Yale Club. And in the Yale Club, I walked in and there was this big portrait of George W. Bush Sr., George W. Bush Jr., and Bill Clinton, and all this wealth everywhere. And I'm sitting down, I'm talking to this guy who just made a $50 million business deal. And you'd be amazed how being in spaces where people are making money, it's like money's easy to get. And I was sitting there, I was thinking, we're sitting inside this Yale Club with talking about, like, oh yeah, well, I had to get another 3 million for blah blah blah, and another 5 million for blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, right outside these walls, most of the people that we walk past will have no idea what that even feels like. What that's like, that's we're talking about amounts of money that would seem impossible for a lot of people. But we just talked about it like, yeah, oh yeah. Well, oh wow, it was only 10 million. Okay, that was a good move. I mean, it's interesting, right? And it probably makes you sound a little bit elitist, like a snob. And I'm not trying to sound that way. What I'm saying is, get yourself in a space where abundance is prevalent, right? Get yourself in a space that is abundantly abundant, meaning get around people that where success and hard work and wealth and everything else, and also just being a good person, like those things come in abundance. Try to be careful about spaces where there's like a scarcity mindset or a loser mind. I don't say loser mindset, but a negativity, right? Negativity is bad. People that just choose to stay broke, stay struggling, stay in bad situations, I feel bad for them. Maybe they could use some therapy, maybe somebody made them like that when they were little. I don't know. But that kind of thinking is never going to really lead to success. You want to be in spaces that are open and wealthy, and not just financially wealthy, but also emotionally wealthy. Like, so when I was sitting with these people, it's funny, maybe being millionaires made them not have a care in the world, but they were nice people, and everybody was collaborative and partnering and talking about ways we can help each other. And I got like that. I was like, yeah, well, this is what I've done. And blah, blah, blah. Right. So I would just say, get in spaces like that, and that'll help you succeed, in my 2 cents. All right. Stay away from the losers. They'll just make you mad and stress you out. Let's see. Dr. Boyce, what happened to the young lady on Fly Nubian Queens? I forgot her name, but I started watching her right before. Yeah. Oh, you became ill with corona. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're better, young poppy. Good question. Her name was Vicky Dillard. Vicky Dillard is a friend of mine. Vicky Dillard was on Fly Nubian Queen, and Vicky and I are still friends. But what also happens is that sometimes you start off as partners. Like when we first started, Vicky had a small platform, and we said, hey, we'll share our channel with you so you can do your thing. And she did really well. And Vicky's known all over the world. She's super talented. And what inevitably happens in many cases, and I encourage people to do it, is they start their own platforms. So when Vicky started her own platforms, I think she started making other business deals and stuff like that, which I totally am in complete support of. And now she has her own space. But on Fly Nubian Queen, if you go there, you will find that there are some amazing, amazing people there. All the voices on the channel are pretty much women. But I mean, Lene Javette is one of the best business strategists I know. She is the best on earth at showing you how to get your business going, how to get things going, financially, in terms of your operations and your systems for your company, setting up your side hustle. She just had the conference. What was it called? Women of Wealth, or something like that. I gotta look it up. But it was good. She had 29 Black women that were all doing well financially and giving all kinds of information and advice. Look her up, Lene Javette, Lanee Javette. She's on Fly Nubian Queen. Also, there are a lot of other great people. Constance Carter runs the largest Black real estate firm in California. My wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, is on there all the time. She's a therapist and a professor, so she's really good with relationships. That's her thing. And I think that you want to pay attention to this stuff because a lot of y'all are struggling with your relationships. A lot of y'all getting bad advice. There are a lot of people online giving toxic advice for relationships on the male and the female side, and this spills over into the community. This is going to mess up everything that you try to do. It makes it hard for you. You can't build wealth if your relationships are all messed up. Seriously, if you having babies with crazy guys and dealing with babies' mamas and random women running in and out of your life, it's very, very hard for you to build. Part of the reason that I was very happy to have the structure of having a wife and a family is that when I go sit down and do business with other grown men, I get viewed differently. We connect differently. When I have families over and we're talking business, it's a different conversation. When you're two men that are in charge of something, you're the head of a household. It's a very different discussion than somebody who's kind of distracted with a lot of other stuff going on, right? So no disrespect to anybody who made a different choice, but I'm just telling you that stuff does matter. And it's not just in America. It's like all around the world. You go to China and Africa. In fact, in Africa, if you're a man and you're not married and don't have kids, they look at you like a child. They literally will not even, they'll say, you don't even deserve our respect, because how can you be a king or a leader when you're not leading anything? You're not guiding anything. You're not protecting anything. Masculinity is seen as protective. So if you're not protecting anything, then you're not seen as masculine. You're seen as vulnerable and weak and immature. So just think about that stuff. Don't let people who are scarred give you relationship advice because their advice is just going to be bad. Like somebody's been divorced 8 times and has a string of bad relationships. It's just going to give you bad advice, period. I like talking to the people that know how to form something and keep it going and keep it together. All right, so let me keep going. My daughter just graduated from college with a marketing degree. Good for you. That's awesome. Tell her I say congratulations. Let me keep reading here. I'm looking at Instagram here. How do you fire people and feel good about it? You don't. I hate firing people. It is a terrible, terrible feeling. And let me just say this. I would say that the best way to avoid that terrible feeling of firing people is to really take your time to choose the right people to hire. And the thing is, you don't just fire people from a business. You fire people from your life. And that's hard too sometimes, So another way, but then firing somebody from my life, it's rarely like where I say, I don't want anything to do with you, get away from me. It's usually like demoting them. Like, okay, we used to be real tight. Now we talk, instead of talking once a week, we're going to talk once a month or once every 2 months because the connection's not there anymore. But it's all hard. So, and then it's really, it compounds when you're more like in the public eye and more people know you. I have to really vet who's around me and who I'm talking to. And so I have to think about that kind of stuff a lot. So vetting people in advance is really important. And because remember this too, you also fire people from your relationships. You date them, you like them, the sex is good and all this other stuff. But then you realize, okay, this person's not good for me. Well, how are they going to react when you have to let them go? Some people don't take that so well. So you got to be really thoughtful about who you bring into your space in the first place. Let's see here, because it never feels good to fire anybody. How do you balance paying your ETF portfolio and paying your long-term portfolio? I don't see a difference. I mean, I think my ETF portfolio is my long-term portfolio. So that I don't think you have to make a difference between the two. But you could have a short-term and a long-term. Depends on how you want to invest. Can you invest and still have debt? Yeah, most investors actually do have debt. Remember that, the thing about debt, one piece of really bad advice that Dave Ramsey seems to give on a regular basis is that debt is always bad and that you're always better off if you have no debt at all. I think that's 100% untrue. Debt is a wonderful tool if you're trying to scale up your business or if you're trying to make moves financially that you can't make otherwise. Debt is like what I call a financial time machine. That means that if I have this great idea, let's say, for example, one thing that my wife and I are going to do soon is we're going to buy this yacht. And this yacht is going to be super expensive, and we're not going to pay for it, though. We're going to rent it out. We're going to just like we do our houses and everything else, we're going to buy this big yacht, and we're going to let people use it and let them pay us, and that'll pay the mortgage on the yacht, so we won't have to pay for it. But then we'll still have this yacht. We can take the kids on there, right? We're thinking about calling it either the Bolisha or the B1 or something like that. Anyway, so So the thing is, saving up the money to buy this expensive boat might take a while, right? But if you can get debt financing and do it carefully, you can actually get it sooner rather than later. You don't have to wait for years to save up the money. You can do it now. If you want to buy a house, the bank gives you a loan. You can get the house now. You don't have to wait 30 years or 20 years to save up enough money to buy a house. So anybody who tells you that debt is always bad is just wrong. Debt becomes toxic when you abuse it, right? So when you have people that are telling you that you should leverage yourself into the ground so you can buy more real estate, keep flipping your properties and take the equity out and buy another one and another one, and another one, and so you can control 100 properties and you only put down 2%. That's not good, because leverage has a dark side. If the economy goes bad, or if your finances go bad, you're going to start getting margin calls on some of that debt. You're going to have people pushing, really coming at you really hard. It's going to create a lot of stress. So I think that the intelligent use of debt is a wonderful way to scale up your business. So don't ever, like if you're sitting on student loans, let's say you have a certain amount of student loans and it's going to take you 20 years on your job to pay off your student loans. Or you could leave the student loans to the side, keep the debt, and go ahead and start your business now while you're young, while you're 32 years old. Why would you give up 20 years of your life just so you can stay out of debt? I wouldn't spend 20 years on a horrible job just so I can avoid the debt. I'd rather have the debt and be free than to have no debt and be a slave. Anyway, let me keep going. How can you invest as a college student without a job? Well, Maria, let's see here. Well, first of all, if you have any extra income, obviously, I think that's important, right? You want to take a percentage of that and start investing with that. Maybe you could take the time to take some sort of class on how to create a side hustle or a small business. Campuses are full of money-making opportunities. When I was on campus, I used to make money doing homework for people. And these white kids would have all this money and they would pay me to do their computer science assignments. And I didn't care. I was like, okay, just give me $10 and I'll get it done for you. And I used to tutor them at math, and I used to work in the cafeteria. I had 2 jobs on campus, and I also worked at Arby's or Hardee's. Arby's. It was Arby's. I worked at Arby's and Hardee's, actually. Yeah, because Hardee's was where I was a freshman, and those guys would go in the bathroom and use cocaine. It was very strange. I'm so happy that I wasn't stupid and didn't follow the crowd. But anyway, what I would just say to you is you may want to find a way to generate some extra cash flow, but also remember that investing isn't just money. You can also invest in other ways. So if you start a business with somebody and you don't have any money, you can also give time. You can bring expertise to the table. You can bring connections to the table. There's lots of ways to invest that have nothing to do with money. So never think that money is your only way to be an investor. There's 1,000 ways to invest. What's the best way to get investors for your business without getting your concept stolen with people with more people with more capital? That, Drew, I do not know the answer to that question. I cannot be the person to help you with that, because I can definitely tell you that. I think protecting your ideas, you can have NDAs and all that, but honestly, people that have capital, a lot of them, like when people approach me with an idea and they're like, oh, I need you to sign this NDA. I'm like, I don't feel like it. Either you trust me or you don't. And also the whole art of raising capital is a whole skill that I would, if that's something you really want to do, I would really go learn how to do it. Like I would go read a book on it and take a class on it and really learn it. My brother's in that industry. He's in private equity, and there's a whole process, and I don't even want to do it. I don't even like to do it. I don't raise money for my businesses like that. If I have a business deal that I want to invite people in, I might invite people that are really close to me if I really like the deal. But I'm not begging for money. I just don't do that. Never have, never will. And I definitely don't take money from corporations or people who, or anybody who doesn't align with the values of the Black Business School. So I'm not that guy to tell you how to go raise that money like that. All right, so let's see here. Next question. But they're all white. They had a head start. Well, I don't know who had a head start. Sorry, I missed that. Let's see. I asked my question like 10 times. I might be blacklisted. Well, you should have put your question right there. Then I would have answered it. What are your thoughts on the real estate market? And is it now a good time to invest? The real estate market is cooling off. It's expected to have a dip when the recession gets here, which they think it will, but they don't think it's going to be terrible or last forever. There could be a bigger dip in the real estate market. If you're a long-term investor, I don't think there's ever a time in history that it wasn't good to buy real estate, because the prices of real estate, the long-term trend is not down. the long-term trend is always up. You'd be hard pressed to find any area where you can buy real estate right now where the price is not higher now than it was 20 years ago. So if you are a long-term investor, like our house, it's I guess 15 years in or something, the value's like tripled in that time. So anybody waiting for real estate to go down to buy, I don't agree with that. I think that you just make your move and you own it and you hold it for a few years and you're going to make your money. Real estate is one of the best investments that there is. You just got to be careful. Don't buy into like crappy neighborhoods or anything where you're going to lose your money because the neighborhood's declining. Good morning, Dr. Boyce. I'm getting ready to retire. I have no debt except utilities. Wondering where to invest my 401k after retirement. Well, remember, after retirement, you're not going to, you're going to have years of life ahead of you, many years of life. So you can still be a long-term investor. As a long-term investor, you can wait out the storm. Like if there's a market decline, it usually takes 2 years for a bear market to recover itself. So you can invest, in my view. In the textbooks, they would tell you that as you get older, you have to be more conservative because you can't wait out the market downturns. But I don't agree with what's in a lot of these textbooks, actually, because long-term investing only requires that you have a 3 to 5 year time horizon to wait out any economic storm. That means if the market dips like it is right now, this is not a good time to sell your stock. This is the time to buy, right? So if you're, a retiree, you can just say, okay, I'm just going to hold my stock until the market recovers. Now, if you need the income, then maybe you want to find investment vehicles that will generate some kind of income for you on a regular basis so that you can actually still survive and sustain off your portfolio, as you get older. So that might be the main shift. So I would go talk to my investment advisor and say, okay, here's how much income I need. How much income can I get from my portfolio and still allow for the growth of that portfolio? And actually, speaking of income, for those of you that are interested, don't forget July 7th, I'm doing a Black Wealth Bootcamp. And the focus on this bootcamp is what I call Prime, which is the passive recurring income machine. This is actually the method that I put together on how to use covered calls, how to sell covered calls to generate consistent income for your portfolio. And I go through the whole process that I use to generate income for my own family, how I pick my stocks, how I calibrate the risk, how I figure out how much income a stock is going to give me. I think it's really beneficial in this economy because stock prices aren't really going up. They're kind of moving sideways or going down. So if you're interested, I'm going to do a Q&A tonight, June 27th at 8 p.m. If you want to come to the Q&A to sort of ask me more questions about the program, you can. It's 4 weeks. And if you want to just join, you can also go to boycewatkins.com. So go to boycewatkins.com and feel free to take a look. If you're on Instagram, you can hit the link in the bio and you can join us. We get started on July 7th. Let's see here. Steve Harvey. Okay. What about Steve Harvey? Is now a good time to invest in real estate? I think we answered that a second ago. Question for someone. Would you trust a credit repair company that says that they can remove a bankruptcy from your credit report for $500? Would you trust this? I don't think I'd pay $500 for credit repair. I'd pay a little less to maybe try it out and see if it works. There's strategies there are companies that can actually help you, but I don't know if I put hundreds of dollars on the line to test it out. Or maybe look at all the reviews. Be really careful. I'd find the biggest, most reputable credit repair company, and I don't really think that you'd have to pay $500 to test out what they're offering. One thing about credit score too is don't forget, you can actually challenge anything on your credit report and force them to verify it. And if they can't verify it within 30 days or something, then they have to take it off. So that's one way some people get a lot of stuff taken off their credit report is just by challenging anything on there that looks suspicious at all. Dr. Boyce, do you think it's a good time to invest in NFTs? I'm not going to say no, but I'm going to say the NFT market is one that is it's a shady market, a lot of money laundering and manipulation happening over there. I wouldn't go hard with NFTs. My Lord Jesus. I mean, it might take years for it to come back. If it does come back, and there's some elements of the NFT market that are simply the result of irrational exuberance and froth that was created during the 2020 bull market run. So a lot of stuff in the NFT market is just garbage. It's not gonna, so I can give you 100 years of data on stock market performance. And I can tell you all about stocks and bonds and real estate and traditional investments. I can't tell you about NFTs for the last 100 years because they haven't been around that long. So I wouldn't go extra hard on NFTs. I mean, if you want to invest, maybe you can take advantage by a little bit. But if somebody's like, oh, you can buy this Bored Ape Yacht Club picture for 10,000 and it used to be worth 110,000, just know you might lose your whole 10,000. So just keep that in mind. Do you think online businesses will survive this economic decline? Absolutely. I definitely believe that. Do you need a buku of money in your bank account to do covered calls? No, actually, you need to be able to buy 100 shares of the stock. And there are some stocks as low as, less than $10 per share. And so we're going to do strategies where we're going to pick stocks that are more expensive, some that are less expensive, some that are high risk, some that are low risk. And I'll just do several examples and kind of show you. Also, one good way to jump in is, and this is what we do in our family, is if you get your family members together and pull together your money and show them what I teach in this class, that's a good way to make that money too. Selling covered calls is one area where family investment clubs come into play. And so one of the bonuses that I did include with class is a lecture series I did on how to form a family investment club that can sort of function as a bank for you. And so I included that specifically because if you've got good people around you that are ready to put some money behind what they say they want to do and they want to generate some income together, it's a great way to do it. It really is. And I've explained it to some of my relatives. Some of them listen, some of them don't. But the ones that listen, they're making. It's really working out well for them. And the ones who don't listen, I'm not gonna beg you. I might invite you one time, and after that, it's kind of over. So I'm telling you, if you get together with relatives, this is a good strategy. I personally love it. It's my favorite investing strategy, to be honest with you. So, by the way, we start July 7th, and you can go to boycewatkins.com if you want to take a look. And also, don't forget the Black Business School. There's a 100% money back guarantee. So we're not going to scam you. We're not going to cheat you. We're not going to lie to you. We're not going to overcharge you. So if you feel in any way that you didn't get exactly what you wanted, you can just let us know. We give you your money back. That's our policy. That's our promise. We have a 30-day 100% money back guarantee on everything that we do. All right, so let's see here. White folks stole the wealth. Black labor, white wealth. Yeah, they did, but they're not always still stealing all of your wealth right now. And also remember this, because remember, it's 2022. It's not 1844. Right. So I think that, so you guys know every Wednesday night we do our Powernomics book club, which is totally free, by the way. Again, also on boycewatkins.com. If you want to join us, feel free. And I want you to know the whole history. I keep a copy of Powernomics right next to me. I got Black Labor, White Wealth somewhere over there. And I want you to know all of that. Like, okay, yeah, white people took your money. These are the things that happened. But this is an explanation. It's not an excuse. It's an explanation. It is not an excuse. I'm not trying to build you a crutch so you can spend the rest of your life complaining about how you have nothing because white folks took everything. No, I want you to understand the blueprint of how America is built and where the windows of opportunity might be. It's like if I'm a football coach and I explain the other team's defense and how they stop you from scoring, how they cause fumbles, how they take the ball away from you, I'm not telling you to sit down and cry and let them have all the points. I'm saying, like, okay, let's find the vulnerabilities in the defense and let's exploit those so that we can get in here and win some games and score some touchdowns for our team too. So you got to score touchdowns, man. America is not a country that has no opportunity. That is just crazy. If you believe that, it doesn't mean that it's fair. It's not fair. We know that, but there's 1,000 opportunities, and sometimes we get in our own way. That thinking of I can't do nothing without a white man's permission. I reject all of that. I curse it to the root. I'm not living like that. You're not going to ever tell me that another man who's a man just like me, who puts his pants on one leg at a time just like me, is going to stop me from being the man that God meant for me to be. No. You're who you are and what you've done. I congratulate you for that. But I'm coming. And other strong people in the community, you're coming. Go do what you got to do. Focus on your family. Take care of your kids. Build your life. Make good choices in your life. Make your investments, and good things will come to you. That's what I believe in. So let me keep going. Is there a real estate correction coming by the end of the year? Yeah, but I wouldn't sit around waiting for it because nobody knows exactly when it's going to happen. Um, let's see here. What do you, Dr. Boyce, look for when you want to invest in a person or person's vision? I really, I think I look, I don't know. I'm trying to think here. Like sometimes people will submit stuff if they want to be on like Fly Nubian Queen. We have a channel for women. It's pretty good. It's got 250,000 subscribers and lots of women are on there and stuff. And the team really looks at it and then they'll show it to me sometimes, but they make the decisions. But, um, I guess, I don't know if somebody is, talented and interesting and determined, like consistent. Consistency is big. If you're not consistent, then don't do it because you're wasting everybody's time. And also, if you have a product, people underestimate the importance of being able to sell your product. If you can't sell it, then no one will buy it. You have to be able to help people understand why they should buy it. And so that's pretty much it. And by the way, if you do want to be on a channel or you have some content that's really good or you want to share it or something like that, because we have the Black Boss channel too. That's a channel for men that has about 56,000 subscribers. And so if you want to, participate in any of that, feel free to send your stuff to manager@boycewatkins.com. That's manager, MANAGER at boycewatkins.com. And keep the note short, like send the link of your stuff that you've done so they can take a look at it. And I love sharing the platform with smart Black people. Let's see. Is it a good time to sell my Tesla stock or hold on? Nama, I can't say the indicators are all over the place. Tesla stock is priced at a really low level, but I think Elon Musk is having some financial problems because he's firing everybody. He's letting all these people go. I think that there's something going on there where he's nervous about something. And I will say that there are people who think Tesla stock is going to go to the moon. There are people who think Tesla stock is going to go straight to hell. So that's a tough one. That's a personal decision. But I wouldn't put too much of my portfolio in just one stock. Like I would not put all my hopes and dreams in Tesla because Tesla's one company, and that's very bad investing when you're focused on one company. What are some good overseas investments? Oh gosh, there's a lot. I can't even name any right off the top of my head, but I can say that in the stock market class, I give students recommendations every week, and a lot of those recommendations are overseas. I'll give you one example. I did buy some shares of Neo, a Chinese company. There you go. So there's one. Let's see here. How is Sister Vicky doing, Dr. Watkins? She's doing good. She's doing very well. I haven't talked to Vicky directly on the phone in a while, but from what I understand, Vicky's doing her thing, and she is being Vicky, and she's a powerful spirit and very talented. So that's all I can really say on that. Let's see here. Do you think Bitcoin will hit 100,000 by 2025? Yeah, Michael, I think it will. I think Bitcoin's going to make a comeback. I really do. I'm positioned for that. I'm not putting everything I have in Bitcoin, but I do believe Bitcoin's going to make a comeback. Do you think investing in value stocks like oil and gas is going to be a good play given secular inflation? I would say, Aaron, any investment, I would make it for long-term purposes, and I wouldn't put it all in one company. I would diversify it and wait. And this is not investment advice, but I would say that that question is a tough one because oil and gas stocks have already gone up because of the increase in the price of oil. So the only way you'd buy is if you think the price of oil is going to keep going up, and there's no way to really know what's going to happen in that arena. They may cool down, it may go back up. Nobody really knows. But if you believe fundamentally in the long-term prospects of oil and gas companies, then why not add it to your portfolio? All right, so I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then we'll get on out of here. What are your thoughts on starting a business using Bitcoin payments only? I wouldn't do that. Bitcoin is too volatile. I don't think it's a good currency. Can you please look into this company, Christmas Healthcare? The company is not honest with their employees, especially with their pay. Christmas Healthcare, Crisis Healthcare. Okay, I can try to Google it. The students in the stock market investing class, which you can actually find at boycewatkins.com. You can do a free trial, 30 days, totally free. The students leave me questions like that where they say, can you look into this company or look into that investment? And I look it up for them. So that's a bonus that I offer to my students. So for those of you that are thinking about being students, I want you to know that I can't do for everybody what I do for the students, but I do extra for the students because I appreciate your support of the Black Business School. So my goal is to support you with a little extra time. So it's no disrespect to people who don't choose to join. It just says that there are privileges to being a member of the Black Business School, and I hope you'll consider it because we are better than whatever college you went to. I know that for a fact. We're damn good at what we do, and we're the best in the world at Black wealth. Like, that is what we focus on. That's all we live for. That's why we're here. All right. So let me see. I left you a message. I want you and Dr. Claude to talk about the order of the Star Spangled Banner. Dr. Claude is not coming back on the platform for a while. He's not. He might come to a book club meeting on Wednesday night, but Dr. Claude is not feeling well, so that there's a good chance that probably won't happen, to be honest with you. Dr. Boyce, do you think Black men should reconsider conservative values over the liberal way of doing things? I think that Black men should decide for themselves what values work for them. The thing that people don't get, dumb people don't, this is a good place to finish the conversation because it's wealth and it's everything tied together. One thing that dumb people don't understand is that the solutions for the Black community don't all lie in a liberal box. They do not all lie in a conservative box. So when you're talking about Patrisse Cullors and Black Lives Matter in that liberal, communist, Marxist box, unfortunately, the problem is they become more communist and Marxist and liberal than they are actually Black, because every single solution they come up with for the Black community is literally something that has been them carrying water for the Communist Party or the Marxist Party or for the Democratic Party. So it's almost like having a coffee where you put so much cream in the damn coffee that you have 90% cream and 10% coffee. That ain't good coffee. That's not good coffee. You have diluted your Blackness when you do that. And the same thing is true on the conservative side. The same argument can be made. When you're talking about solutions for the Black community, like, so for example, I'll talk to my conservative friends who believe Jesus is the answer for Black people. Like, if we all had Jesus and we all went to church, everything would be better. I'm not disagreeing that the church can't play a huge role in the benefit of Black people, but my Lord Jesus, some of these churches ain't doing nothing for Black people. Some of these churches are turning Black people into bigger slaves. Some of these churches are sending our community backward. So don't tell me that, unconditionally speaking, that church is the only solution, because that's just not true. So I think that we're a lot of us are finding ourselves, and I see this a lot with younger people too. I'm OG now. I'm OG status. I'm 51 years old. So I may not be able to see the world through the eyes of a 25-year-old completely. I can see some of it because I was 25, but I see people trying to figure out who they are. And I think that when you get these out-of-the-box solutions to Black problems that somebody else handed you, that's probably the wrong solution. That's probably the wrong solution. The solution for Black people must be custom made, because your experience was a custom made experience that only you have gone through. No other group of people has gone through what you've gone through. No other group of people has survived the slave dungeons. No other group of people has survived the Middle Passage. No other group of people has survived 250 years of the most brutal slavery known to man. No other group of people has survived 100 years of Jim Crow. No other group of people survived 40 years of mass incarceration and the war on drugs. Nobody's gone through that. So you have so much toxicity that is a result of what you've gone through, that you're like a patient in the hospital who has a rare disease that no patient in that hospital has ever had in their life. A person like that, you can't just give them a bunch of Tylenol and say, call me in the morning. You can't do that. You can't just say, well, let's just give them the same surgery we gave the last 500 people. Well, let's put them in this ward because they're just like that. No. They need custom solutions. And those solutions should come from a team of physicians who specifically try to understand exactly what they've gone through and specifically what's necessary to fix the damn problem. So that's what I believe. I'm not liberal. I'm not conservative. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm just Black. So when you come in, if anybody who comes on the platform and says, oh, you sound like a conservative. Oh, you sound like a Biden supporter. People like that, I know, okay, you must be new. You must be new, because I don't think that's the solution for us. I think we really got to think it all through. The solution is not the whole, like, we need to shut these Black women down and hold them accountable because they messing up their relationships, but you ain't holding yourself accountable. What the hell's wrong with you, Negro? You think you perfect and Black women are the reason for all your problems? Well, that's why your life is messed up. We can't get into this whole idea that getting jobs from white people is our solution. That we know that's not true. So what I'm just saying at the end of the day is if you don't learn how to think, you're not going to be successful, and you're not going to be a very good Black person. You're not going to be a benefit to your family or your community. So I would encourage you to learn how to think. Well, that's my 2 cents, guys. I'm out of here, and I'm sticking to it. And I'm going to be back a little bit later. I'm going to go hang out with my wife. So I'll see you guys later, and talk to you soon. Have a good day. And by the way, if you want to join us for the class that starts on July 7th, that's the Black Wealth Bootcamp, where we're going to cover what I call the prime or the passive recurring income machine to show you how to generate consistent income for your family by selling options, not buying them, but by selling them. Feel free to go to boycewatkins.com. Tonight, I'm doing a free Q&A for the whole community, for anybody interested in the program, so you can ask me as many questions as you want, and you can find all of that on boycewatkins.com. So take care, guys. Have a good day, and please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe before you go, and I'll see you soon. Take care now.